everyone, I'm Jane Hanlon, the Mortgage Club Manager from Wise. Welcome to today's Ask Jane episode. This question came from Lisa from Buckinghamshire. Do lenders accept joint tenants, and do they accept tenants in common? Now, the joint tenants is not an issue, as all lenders will accept joint tenants, and if anything happens to one of them, then obviously the case would, in due course, would be put into the single name. So if one were to die, then it would just transfer into the other. That's what joint tenants are. Tenants in common, which we are seeing an awful lot more at the desk, is usually comes around when it's second time round. So you may have been married before, you may have other property, long-term care, people have done it in the past just to avoid, if anything happens to one of them, then the local authority can only take that portion of a share. And also inheritance, if someone's inherited a house, then quite often they might put it in tenants in common. Tenants in common can come in many shapes and forms because obviously it's a percentage. So it could be 50-50, it could be 80-20, or it could be 99-1. The reason for putting in tenants in common is to protect the other party so they have a roof over their head. The issue with tenants in common is Liverpool, Victoria do not allow it. The problem then comes with the other lenders if you've done a lump sum with a reserve facility. The reserve facility obviously is available under certain conditions, and you would apply to the lender. In the event of death of one of you under the tenants in common, then the property would then have to be transferred in most cases to the single name. Now, this may be a real issue because obviously, depending on what the person's written in their will, their share of the property may go to other members of family, charities. So therefore, the remaining occupier in the property is no longer possibly owning the whole property anymore, because that person may have actually given through their will their portion elsewhere. Therefore, in most cases, if you then wish to access the reserve facility or drawdown, you haven't got two signatures, and therefore the property would have to be transferred into the single name. But the single name doesn't own it all, and therefore at that point they would not be able to access the reserve. So they have options. They would have to approach whoever's due to inherit to see if they could actually buy them out. That is an option which some people have to resort to. Alternatively, they cannot access the reserve, they can't do anything further, they can't even remortgage. So that's the issue of tenants in common, and that's very important for the advisor to raise the awareness of this if he's got a case where there is tenants in common, and obviously to get legal advice from for the client to get legal advice whether they want to change tenants in common to joint tenants and the implications that causes. The only lender that will actually allow you to access the reserve, because they underwrite on day one, is Aviva. So when you apply for your mortgage with Aviva, then you get your initial lump sum, you'll get your reserve facility, and that reserve facility is agreed on day one. And therefore, if you've got a death certificate and you want more money, then you just approach Aviva as you would normally. And it would be subject to obviously approval for other terms and conditions. However, because they've been around a while, they understand the market and they're a little bit more flexible in that situation. Thank you for your time. We welcome your questions, please. To submit, please go to advisewise.com on the Upskill page and press the button to submit, or you can just simply give me a call. We're here to take your calls and inquiries and help you process the business. Our platform is up to speed with all the changes, with the desktop valuations and the retentions. So any queries or questions regarding the platform cases, please feel free to give us a call or drop us an email. We're here to help. Thank you for your time.